Good morning. Why don't we just get started? Can we get a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting? Supervisor Beatty, seconded by Supervisor Vanslow. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carrie Way?
Okay, good morning, thank you for coming out. I guess you've got another meeting a little bit after this, but what we have is some basic housekeeping, financial housekeeping, regarding some purchase for some furniture, chairs specifically. I would like to take the opportunity just to, describe, and we've probably have looked through this, the description that we had offered in the agenda as presented, and hopefully I do like the new format, and I've always tried to be, have as much information in front of you, but I do like this format. It speaks to me, and hopefully it speaks to you and to the rest of the committee members. So, does certainly make, I think, our lives and our presentations a little easier, for sure. So we're requesting a transfer of funds. We had, some current concerns that were brought by the employees, particularly in the DMV, regarding, just some overall improvements that we needed to do ergonomically to the DMV office, and so we're going to be pursuing those. Needham with Amy Clute came in. They approached Needham and Amy Clute, and they came in and did a kind of a survey of the place, and there were certainly things, just like our own homes, that over time had, certainly there's wear and tear, and layout doesn't flow sometimes as well as one would like. But at any rate, we know it's going to be a little bit of a process. But I thought, as long as I had this description from them regarding the seating that we were offering, and that this would be an appropriate time to do it. There were funds available from basically under our electronic document management system. We make available to the public online records, and that generates revenue. It comes in, and it is netted out against that appropriation that we have to pay our invoice for that. So there, because we get an invoice and then we get a credit, we do have some funds. So I thought that would be an appropriate use for it, because we're going to need, 9. They will be state contract. I have two potential, two to select from at this point in time. It's 2 companies, state contract. So we're still evaluating that, and they've brought up some samples, but we know pretty much where they fall.
Frankly, I'm surprised you let your employees sit during the day.
I am too, quite frankly. But at any rate, some of them do choose to sit, and we actually are looking at a new layout that will allow a more efficient workspace, and that's going to be coming in 2015. It's going to be a bit. When we first work with any DMV, they are definitely standing, but you will go in and you will find some sitting, and some of the seating that they are selecting to use is really not, does not meet those kinds of standards. So in a new and improved, which I think is what we're looking to do, to create a more improved and a more efficient workspace for them. There's a lot of things behind that counter that need to go, but
So
Yeah. Ready?
So you're asking for $41.50. You save $1,410 because we've gotten more participation online, and we'd be able to get an additional $1,400. And now we want to spend that $1,400 plus additional money to bring it up to $4,150 for new chairs, 10-year-old chairs, and to replace the older chairs in the public area, correct? Is that recapping it clearly?
I'm not sure where that,
Does this mean that you have, after all this is done, you have $1,410 left over?
$1,410 is the account number.
Oh,
It's not the amount.
I see, right.
Okay,
I think that's the confusion. 1410 is the account number.
okay, yeah.
Pam is saying she has actually 4,000 or better in that account number. So she wants to transfer 4,000 or better out of that account to the other account. So it won't hit our contingency fund, it won't hit our surplus. This is money she has in her budget, because she hasn't expended it all because she got in more revenues than she anticipated.
Okay, so how often, thank you for clarifying that. Now, how often do we replace county chairs? Now, I'm sure there's not but on the other hand, we've got probably hundreds of chairs here in the county. How often, do we do it every 10 years, 5 years, 15 years? Do you have a general, and I know I'm asking a fairly specific question, but if you got a general response?
I can tell you, we generally will keep chairs until they fall apart, and we only replace them when we have to, because there's no reason to replace perfectly good chairs. But in this particular case, as the county clerk has explained, there was an ergonomical study done and a review done down there, plus the fact that the chairs are old and worn and they're not ergonomically good for the workers. That's why we're suggesting an upgrade. And we've done that in a couple of different places. Some of the supervisors may have been involved with Brian LaFleur's office. We did. We've done a couple other places in the county where it's a matter of ergonomics that we will take that action, because that's obviously we want to make sure that the employees don't have back issues or problems of any kind. Like when you're sitting at a typing stand and stuff, everybody knows you're supposed to have your arms and legs at a certain distance and height. So when we see something that could lead to a potential injury or potential, future repetitive type injuries that can happen, we try to eliminate those. And I think it goes to obviously a value in workers' comp, but it also goes, quite frankly, to a value in showing employees that we care and that we're going to give them, we're not going to give them Cadillac of work environments, but we're going to give them a safe and comfortable work environment.
Thank you. And I guess my follow-up question then would be, what if another department came to us and said, I've got chairs that need upgrading? I mean...
We would study that and see if it's true or not.
Didn't she, Amy, because I remember that discussion around Brian LaFleur's stuff, and the goal is not just the injury, but it lowers the rates and so on. But wasn't that also offered to the towns, that they would go and evaluate the ergonomic situation in the town?
I can check on that. I think it should be allowed and offered for the towns, because you're all part of our workers' compensations self-insurance fund. But I can certainly check on that if you'd like it to, be done in your town, or any town for that matter.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion to approve the expenditure for the chairs. I don't know if Doug will second it though.
I will.
Go ahead, Peter. Are you going to second it?
I'll second it, yeah.
Um,
You're not going to second it, Doug, so I clearly...
Well, I'm just, I'm sure they're needed. What opens up, and it's $4,100, and somebody could say, well, it's only $4,100, and you've already got it in your budget. But that's the type of thing that, I know in the private sector, they look at things over and over and over again, and what it potentially can do is lead to a lot more departments saying, hey, well, Pam got it over there, she got $4,100 for new chairs, and, and so forth. And I just, and your comment earlier, Paul, that we keep chairs until basically they're,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so these are 10-year-old chairs that are not as comfortable and could lead, potentially, to maybe a back issue from an employee. I just, the $4,100, if it was just one isolated case, I probably could live with it, but I just see more and more, and now we got $4,100 in that department, $10,000 in this department, and now the thing starts mushrooming and we got a real issue.
Supervisor Beatty, I can offer this, that we have had, a few departments where we've gone in and addressed the issues, but I have not seen that floodgate. I have to say the departments themselves, as well as the employees, they're a pretty conservative bunch, and there's a lot of individuals who have older furniture and stuff. They don't have any problem with that, and I really don't think it would open the floodgates. It hasn't so far. We've had, I'm thinking at least, I remember Brian's office, and nobody's raised any issues over that. We redid Joy's office down in the assigned council for the same reasons. and I think we may have done one other, but there's been no floodgates, and that's gone on over the past year or so. So I really, really I do feel comfortable that we're not going to have that issue, and certainly as the county administrator, I agree with you that we don't want to open the doors and have everybody just switching out furniture just because they don't like the seats anymore or the tables. Because Warren County, we do use everything. I mean, you guys know that. These are the same chairs that have been in this committee room probably since I came here, and it's '96. Your desks probably go back to the '60s.
They do.
So we do, but I like that. I like the fact that we're conservative and that we don't just throw money out the window or furniture. And in this case, though, I when it comes to the worker safety, I think it's money well spent in the end.
And just to add, we are conservative, as you know, and my chair was borrowed from somebody. I'm not sure where it came from, but Johnsburg, okay. But at any rate, my own is one that was left over from some other department, I think, as part of the move. And we've, as Paul has said, all the county departments, we have taken advantage of whatever surplus equipment is out back. I'm pretty well known for going, so, but I appreciate your concerns as well, and the process that we'll use to do this, I think is a good one. I think, we're terribly reflective of things that are going on there. We certainly welcome, we appreciate that.
Supervisor Mansell.
I just want to point out, in the last-ditch effort to get Doug on board with this, especially when you're in a situation where it's identified as a potential health issue. I think we really don't have any choice but to take action. This is a safety issue that's our people have looked at it and said, you got a problem here, you got to fix it. You can't just keep using the old stuff.
I think when I was exiting the county building, was it a Friday afternoon? Not last Friday, but the previous Friday, where there was a cardiac type situation with a motor vehicle employee. EMS was called, and I think you emailed me, telling me they'd taken her to Glens Falls Hospital. We're dealing with an environment, I think, that can be at times extremely stressful. I think anything we can do to mitigate and lessen, back issues, bodily issues. The word ergonomics is a big word, but hopefully it takes into consideration that we have an orthopedically designed chair that will hopefully save on maybe the workman's compensation issues that may come into play because of the misalignment of a chair and incorrect posture. So but again, exiting when we were having that medical event, it just points out you're in an environment there that can be tough at times. Supervisor Beatty.
Yeah, just one final comment. I mean, so, me, I'm always thinking whether that's good or bad, but, so, did we have a concern from one of our employees saying their back was bad down there, Pam, or did that initiate this Needham Risk Management Team, Mike Needham, coming in to say, hey, you need new chairs, that won't... What started the ball rolling there?
The employee, I received a notification from Amy Clute that she had received a request from employees choosing to remain anonymous. I don't know who made it. And they wanted the office space looked at, and she asked me, when she could come over and bring Mike Needham with her, and I agreed and explained to her, my vision and that I was aware that there were, certain things, but I do not have any medical notification. I just have an anonymous claim that went directly to the safety group, to Amy Clute, and I had to respond to that.
Okay, so employee sent an anonymous claim saying...
Well, she knows who it is.
I don't care who it is.
Yeah,
that's
me neither.
irrelevant to me. But an employee sent a claim saying that they had an issue, a medical issue that was related to the chairs?
Not specifically to the chairs, but to the work environment in terms of how they were set up, okay? And it was, Mike that came in and did his examination of the workplace and the workstations, including chairs and, positioning, a variety of things. I mean, with many pages on.
So will this solve that individual employee's concern?
I would certainly think that it will address that one part, you know, I mean, obviously, I do have sample chairs there, and I've asked the employees to, I asked, the county, or I've asked Amy for information, additional information from Mike Needham and his staff regarding, you know, appropriateness of chairs. I had some questions, you know, and, you know, advantages, disadvantages, arms, no arms, high back, low back, things like that. Low seating versus, you know, counter height. So I asked for some of their opinion as well, so that if I was going to request, you know, a chair from Courtcraft or Charlie's or whomever, some samples, some ideas, some, that, you know, I didn't want to do too far off, you know. So, both of those particular, vendors have responded and have brought them in. And at the present time, you know, I've, permitted the, staff to, you know, look at them, sit in them, test them out, evaluate them, how their comfort level is, you know, and, that's where we stand, on that right now.
Great, can we call the question? All those, in favor? Aye. Opposed?
At this time, I'm gonna have to say opposed.
Okay. It carries, no.
Thank you. Thanks for your time on that. The next is a request for a transfer of funds, from our part-time code 1410-130 to, 1410, oops, extra one in there, 1410-120, which is your overtime salaries, for, $500. We have, I feel this is appropriate at this point in time, given the fact that we have, two situations out there. One is the DMV. We have some unanticipated long-term medical leave. I have a significant number, of hours of leave at this time. Some of it is unpaid because the individuals have exhausted their leave, and, unfortunately, but they are in a medical situation. One for 4 months, not due back until January. When she comes out of her particular duties, we must automatically take someone else, a senior person, and fill her duties, because we must complete that work. It's an accounting work every day. There isn't a choice. So that automatically, for every one person, one senior account clerk that comes off the floor, you're gonna take two. And then the other one is, we have continued to have a very, a high response on our pistol permits. We continue to provide excellent service, but we do have leave, and we do have to take certain time off. And by, filling in with a little overtime, it goes a long way in relieving the stress of that office, and making sure that we're timely in the processing of that whole process, which goes from the clerk to the, sheriff's department, and then obviously on to the licensing officer, and then back to the county clerk.
Okay, motion made by Supervisor Beatty, seconded by Supervisor Vanslo. All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Okay.
Anything else?
Motion
before the
adjourned.
meeting? Okay.
Thank you
we
very
bring
much, and have a wonderful
motion to
holiday
adjourn?
and a safe trip.
Motion to
Thank you.
adjourn. Supervisor Vanslo, seconded by Supervisor Beatty.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
You know, Doug, you just voted to make the county liable for
You know,
injured workers.
Now, see, I don't look at it that way.
Thank you.
I look at it that, I just,
Yeah.
I don't wanna,